Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Marketplace, the Monday edition. With me, Emmanuel Abuaji. We are coming to you live on Joy News, also streaming live on Facebook. Many thanks for your company today on the Marketplace. Let's start with the very first story. Some stakeholders at the just ended Graphic Business Stanbic breakfast meeting are calling on government to strictly adhere to the laws on fiscal responsibility. This, they believe, will make the country avoid any election overruns. Economist Professor Osei Sibi tells Joy Business the passage of a law alone cannot guarantee financial discipline if government fails to implement the key components of the law, which involves reducing expenditure.
Fiscal rule or a policy is one thing, and the act itself or the adherence to that policy is another thing. And therefore, well, we have done well, the government has done well to roll out the fiscal responsibility at that tie the hand of government not to exceed 5% of fiscal of GDP. That is good, but that does not mean that you automatically meet it. It will require strict adherence to it. It will mean that even when your revenue is not performing, you need to cut your expenditure to match it. If you are not able to do that, you will begin to have a situation where you spend, you are just focusing on the expenditure side because you need to deliver, you need to conduct or do infrastructure projects and all of that. And before you realize, your revenue had fallen so low that you are unable to meet the target. And so the prudent thing to do is always make sure that you don't spend when you don't have the money.
Chief Executive of Stanbic Bank, Alhassan Andani, on his part, believes more accountability should be demanded from the finance minister if public spending is not going on as planned.
The law is there, and whoever is given the responsibility should act firmly within the law. It should act firmly within the law. And I think the point the panelists made is about the political will. Because at the end of the day, the people giving this responsibility are politicians, but the nation is above everybody else. And even the political party would like to see a developed nation. So if I'm given a responsibility to police the fiscal responsibility, I will do just exactly that, knowing that I'm serving the greater good. People must always, we shouldn't allow political overreach. There's a lot of political overreach. Politicians just come to seek a job from us, and we should measure them on how well they're doing their jobs. But the electorate who are suffering the pangs of underdevelopment tend to also now then condone and to argue about things that they should not be arguing about. You know, so if you say you want to give me all the good things of life, where is it? The good things of life is not just for the people in the party that promised it. It's all Ghanaians. Once a party is given a mandate, they act on behalf of all Ghanaians, and therefore all Ghanaians must be interested on what is being delivered, how it is being delivered, and most importantly that we are actually contributing to that development by paying the right taxes.
And those were some excerpts of the Graphic Business Stanbic breakfast meeting held this morning. Now, agro-processing company Casa de Ropa and Ekumfi Fruits and Juice Factory, both in the central region of Ghana, are set to be commissioned before the end of the year under the One District, One Factory program. CEO of Casa de Ropa, Ebenezer Obing Bafo, during a tour of the facilities, said the company is ready to produce for this upcoming Christmas season. Fred Duho has more.
Officials of Exim Bank Ghana have visited some factory sites under the One District, One Factory initiative to assess progress of work. The tour took a team of journalists and some board members of Exim Bank Ghana to Casa de Ropa and the Ekumfi Fruits and Juice Factory, both agro-processing companies in the central region. CEO of Casa de Ropa, Ebenezer Obing Bafo, one of the beneficiaries of approved funds from Exim Bank, says work is almost complete.
What we have done over the last 1 year is to develop this product into bread without sugar. We have produced cake. Very soon we'll show you samples of the product that we have. We have our own cake without sugar. We have different types of chips, those for children, those for adults. The amazing thing is that all our products do not have refined sugar.
He noted that his goal is to help reduce import of flour and sugar through the processing of potatoes for production of bread, chips, amongst others. Mr. Bafo indicated that the 731-acre land has 2 dams as sources of irrigation.
So why would Exim Bank be interested in Casa de Ropa? Because one, the base material of our product is sweet potato, Ghanaian grown. It means we are cutting down the importation of flour. The fact that we don't use sugar and the bread is sweet, I'm sure you attest to it, is the fact that it will cut down the importation of sugar. So if we were to produce all the cake and meat powder the secondary school people will eat, then it means every spoon of sugar that we have gone to their product is to save Ghana $1. We know we don't produce our own sugar at this moment.
On his part, the director of Ekumfi Fruits and Juice Factory, Frederick Obna Aqua, said all is set for commissioning of the project and hoped to produce for Christmas.
The building and then the machines and their installation works, as we can see here, are fully installed. We have given for ourselves the next 6 weeks to finish this and then get it ready because we want to put our product on the market for Christmas. And so this Christmas, Ghanaians are going to take fruit juice from Ekumfi. We are presenting to the market fruit juice that is raw. What I mean is that this is fruit juice that has no additives.
Meanwhile, CEO of Exim Bank, Lawrence Achensam, explains how much has been invested in some of the projects.
84 projects in various sectors and various regions of this country. Total approval of loans as we speak is about 1.7 billion. Disbursement is almost 600 to 800 million. We are into poultry, we are into pharmaceuticals, we've supported them.
This is the Ekumfi Fruits and Juice Factory in the Central Region. This was the very place the president stood to cut sword for the One District, One Factory initiative.
Let's turn attention now to trade issues. There are fears that various timelines set for the smooth takeover of the Continental Free Trade Agreement may not be achieved as member states are unable to submit their tariff rules and other trade negotiations with third-party regions. Member countries have barely 3 months to present tariff negotiation plans to the African Union for consideration and harmonization. Let's get some more understanding from the director of the AFC-TFAFA Policy Network Ghana, Ziad Amui, who joins us on phone for some clarification. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the marketplace. Hello, Ziad. Good afternoon. All right, so it looks like we lost Ziad.
Yes, afternoon.
Hello, Ziad.
Good afternoon.
All right. Now, so we're talking about the fact that member countries are not actually ready, or they may not be ready before the deadline of January 2020 to submit tariff plans. Why should we be concerned about this issue?
Well, first of all, let me give some context. Now, in full disclosure, I wasn't listening into what precisely into what has been discussed already this week. But with regard to the CFTA itself and its implementation deadline, first of all, you have to know that the CFTA Secretariat is set to be operational in July of 2020, and so that will give enough time for this. Let's say that this would be the deadline, set your eyes for the beginning of the operationalization of that agreement. Now, keep in mind that out of the 54 countries who already signed onto the protocol back in Kigali and later on, there are half of that countries at the moment, 27 countries who have ratified. That means they domesticated the agreement into their national text. And so these countries, theoretically speaking, when the time of the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement comes into force, they will be trading along the terms of the agreement among themselves. And countries that would not be there at the time will be left out. And then they will join later when they ratify and become fully part of it. Now, it is a concern that some of the countries do not ratify and join and submit their list of exclusions within the agreed deadline. I believe I stand to be corrected, but I think the deadline for the submission of the national exclusion list, that is the list of the tariffs that countries would like to liberalize in the first phase of the implementation of the agreement, and then leave out 10% either as strategic or exclusive products. the deadline for that one will be the end of September. I tend to be mistaken. But I think the dynamic of the AFCFTA so far has shown that there is a political will to actually drive this agreement together with, without leaving people behind. And so I think there will not be that much, how to say, there will be some flexibility with terms of the deadlines. However, it would be most ideal if the countries will finalize their discussions with regards to these various things. First of all, within the regional bloc, because you know that the African Union is seeking to remain compatible with the agreements that various African countries have already agreed to on a regional level, whether in West Africa we have the ECOWAS, in East Africa they have the East African Community, in South Africa they have SADC. At the moment there are 5 major regional economic communities and then a few others less so. But then the idea is that how can you reconcile the agreements that you have already signed on to liberalize your trade on the regional level and then make it compatible for the continental level? And to do that, various regional bodies will first enter into some kind of consultative meetings with the various member states in order to discuss their list of national exclusion lists, in order to, first of all, harmonize among themselves, and then
Ziad
will then continue at the African Union level.
Now, Ziad, in order not to be drawn into protracted, challenges with these arrangements, don't you think? I mean, we should proceed with implementation whilst we harmonize or we try to smoothen the rough edges in the course of time?
You can always do that in theory, and in practicality, you can still go ahead and do it anyway. But then, if you are looking at your business interaction with other countries, if you go ahead and implement, and then your other trading partner is not there yet, then you might as well not be implementing, because simply if you are, for example, Ghana and Kenya have currently ratified. So in theory, once the time comes in July 2020, Ghana and Kenya will be importing and exporting from each other within the agreement of the continental agreement. But if, for example, South Africa or Nigeria don't ratify, and then Ghana wants to trade with Nigeria along the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, that will not be possible. And so they will have to make do with any other agreement that is currently in force, while the other party would be willing to enter into the community agreement, finalizes its commitments and obligations and everything.
All right. Many thanks for that input. Ziad Hamoui is a director at the AFCFTA Policy Network Ghana. He's been sharing his thoughts on the implementation of the CFTA, which comes up in July next year. Away from that, Cocoa Board has partnered with 2 importers of fertilizers, Beft Agro Limited and Dieta Ghana Limited, to provide cocoa farmers in the western region with a new product called Omia Calcipril to tackle soil acidity and boost cocoa yields. Officials of the importers are upbeat. Output within the western south region will see a significant boost. They spoke to Joy Business at the sidelines of a 2-day training in Takoradi for cocoa extension officers. Shown that soil acidity is one of the major constraints to cocoa cultivation. It further limits the levels of key nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus. This, according to researchers, leads to low cocoa yields which affect farmers. The acidity of soil in the western region, according to Western South Regional Manager of Cocoa Health and Extension Division, Samuel Ankama, is very high as a result of the continuous rain pattern affecting the region. At the sidelines of the 2-day training for cocoa extension officers and cocoa farmers on how to apply Omia Calcipril fertilizer, Mr. Ankama noted that the region, which has been classified as high rainfall zone with this associated high acidity level, will now rub shoulders with other productive areas.
In terms of fertilizer application, it has been the same fertilizer application throughout the country, which to some of us is not the best practice, especially coming to the western south cocoa region. This enclave is noted for heavy rainfall, and as a scientist will say, when there is this high propensity of rainfall, it affects the soil pH, which means those within the high rainfall areas are always associated with high acidity level of the soil.
Chief Operating Officer at Demeter Ghana, Batistak, was positive of the outcome in the Western region.
We tried to use different types of fertilizer to see if it would work. So we used NPK, and we used TSP, which is triple superphosphate, and we tried like MOP, and none of these products were getting the yield increases that we wanted. And then one day we invited an agronomist out from Europe to come and look at the soils and go, why can we not get an increase in yield? And he sort of did some tests.
Crossing over now to the Upper West region, MTN Ghana has held a training for media practitioners in the region on digital and social media. It is to enable the media practitioners to take advantage of the new digital space to improve their operations. Some media managers and some journalists took part in the one-day workshop. JoyNews' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The aim of the workshop is to train media practitioners to be abreast with the various trends in the digital media space. The training focuses on the opportunities available to them and how they can take advantage of the new trends to improve on their businesses. Maximus Ametago is a digital marketing consultant with Pop Out Multimedia, and he is the lead facilitator of the workshop.
The proficiency aspect, where they were informed about the trend and how digital media has evolved over the years and how it has become a support system for traditional media, and then how traditional media is also losing the time value of content to digital media, and why they are even gaining momentum because they are using various digital channels tools to engage their audience.
Maximus Ametogo stated that with the advent of digital media, that traditional media has a lot to lose if they don't adopt modern systems or trends in the digital space.
Digital is becoming the new trend. Internet is becoming the new paper for delivering news. So if you're a newspaper and digital is now eating into your space, you have to be thinking about how you can use websites, social media channels as news distribution channels instead of just a paper. Because now you are losing the time value of content to online channels because you need time to print over a new paper and also distribute the paper to the target audience. So basically it's digital empowerment for for traditional media practitioners.
A communication development practitioner, Ibrahim Sidi Bomanjo, was one of the participants at the training, and he shared his thoughts.
It's an exposure I think everybody must embrace. We should not stop at that. All the various media houses should look up to it and get in-house training from these aspects so that we can expand our horizon and know what it is that we need in the journalism field. Because, like he mentioned, the trainer mentioned, the traditional journalism that we know, if we don't add up with these digital aspects, we are losing out. For example, there are now newspapers in Ghana. Who buys them? And if you don't go the digital way, it will be difficult to be able to sell, let alone make the necessary money. What is important, and I'm emphasizing, is that the monetization aspect, we've been given the necessary exposure on that. And I'm sure if we take advantage of it, it will help us sell.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Meanwhile, 500 Ghanaian entrepreneurs are to benefit from training within the digital space. It is being spearheaded by the Ghana Oracle Digital Enterprise GODEP in partnership with Yali Regional Leadership. Alberta BCU has more in this report.
The Ghana Oracle Digital Enterprise GODEP and Yali Regional Leadership Center have signed a memorandum of understanding to help train 500 Ghanaian entrepreneurs in the digital space. The project director of Yali RLC Accra, Dr. Shola Safudodu, has called on the need for entrepreneurs to expand their businesses by going through some leadership training.
A lot of people enter into business by necessity. Some are not passionate about it, but they think I have to do something, so I'm doing something. And then they don't also go through the formal process of being trained in how do you build a business plan that will live throughout, even generations, so it's a lot about building the capacity of the people, sharpening their vision, and supporting them to take the right decisions along the way.
The executive director of GODEP, David Entry Ofori, also noted that the Ministry of Communication and the Accra Digital Center are working together to recruit more startups across the country.
500 is for the start, because in everything, you say why the number 500, but we thought that it was an appreciable number to start off with. There's room to scale up, to add more, but it all depends on how young startups take up the opportunity, because you see, the fact that you present an opportunity does not necessarily mean that people will take it. And what we don't want is to overpromise and underdeliver. We'll rather be conservative with the figures, and we have sideline engagements with Oracle Corporation that we can scale up, even up to 1,500.
This program is to help 500 Ghanaian startups and entrepreneurs to scale up in support of Ghana's digital economy. Alberta Bisiu's report for Joy Business.
And that'll be it for the marketplace today. Many thanks for your company. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. If you do join me again same time tomorrow for other interesting developments in the world of business. Have a good afternoon.